Today we'll discuss about the exception handling in Python. This is the topic actually left from the unit 3. Along with this exception handling, your unit 3 and 4 will finish because the database connectivity that we have done with, and for the unit 3 exception handling was left. So today we'll discuss about the exception handling, and the last unit is about the handling with some of the graphics commands like tkinter or some other graphics packages we'll read, or some web regular expression is also there, that we will discuss in the last unit. So in today's discussion, we have exception handling in Python. This exception handling, if you have read the C++, you must have read the exceptions. Now, the exceptions are the unusual conditions that may occur during your program execution. While you are executing a program, you may be syntactically correct. Your program may be syntactically correct, but while during the execution, chances are there that it may come to input two numbers and find the division value. But if somebody inputs the suppose you have inputted C equals to A by B, this is the way you have written the program. Somebody inputs the value of B as 0, that the program is in an inconsistent state, right? Because it doesn't know that what to do if it is divided by 0. Syntactically it is correct, but while running the program, there is a problem. You will face the problem over there. Will have problem over there. Correct. So question is that how to what is that exception and how to handle these exceptions. Python provides various exception handling mechanisms. Correct. So we'll be discussing these exception handling mechanisms in Python. The basics of exception you might be read in C++. Have you read the exception? Have you read or not? Hello?
Yes, sir. We have read it C++.
C++.
Okay. So, yes, you must have read that try, throw, and catch. Then you have catching all exceptions. Then you have these things you must have read in your C++.
Yes, sir.
But we have some syntax is different over here, and some more additional features are also being added. So consider this Python code snippet. This is given that x, we are inputting x as an integer, and we are writing r is equal to 1 by x, and we are printing the value of r. This program is correct. There is no problem. We input a value, we compute 1 by that. There is no problem. The above code snippet works fine if user inputs 1, 4, 5, 7, 10, 25, 30. If it inputs any positive integer or a negative integer, it works fine. There is no problem. The problem is that when the input is 0 for x. So when the input is 0, that becomes 1 by 0. Correct? Then program goes to an inconsistent state. Similar problems may occur if you go for root over of some negative element, root over of -1 or something like that. I have written that x p is equal to root over x. If x is equal to -1, then it becomes root over of -1 in that. So program execution will stop abruptly over here. The event that occurs during the execution of a program and this disrupts its normal flow is called a exception. So exceptions are unusual conditions that may occur during program execution. So these are not done at the compile time. These are not done at the compile time. These are this occurs in the at the runtime. This occurs at the runtime. Correct? These are not at the compile time. Because if the compile time, if you could able to get, then what you can do, you can take necessary measures and correct the program. But this occurs when your program is correct, but while running, based on the environment or input, your program may behave differently. So what to do in this situation? So we want to program, we want the program to adopt different path of execution and exceptional situation. So exception handling is used to handle or deal with errors automatically. Now what happens if this occurs? It will stop the execution of the program and the control transfer to some other location, and a transfer to some other location, right? It will stop the execution and transfer to some other location. But what we want, this must be handled in such a way that the program execution should not stop and it should continue with the other instructions, giving appropriate error message as well, giving appropriate error message as well, right? So when a Python script raises an exception, it must either handle the exception immediately, otherwise it terminates and quits. Try to understand, when a Python script raises an exception, suppose exception occurs. So what you have to do? It must either handle the exception, immediately, otherwise it terminates and quits. You must have seen that if it is a exception, it will terminate immediately. Correct? So any piece of code which is susceptible to raise an exception be defined elegantly. Correct? Be defined elegantly. Who is calling you? So how to do it? We have try. Just oh, hello. Sorry for the interrupt. Okay. Are you there? Are you listening me or not? Hello.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So what do we have? Just look into this code. So any piece of code which is susceptible to raise an exception should be defended elegantly. That means if you doubt or suspect that there might be somebody may input 0 in place of v, then that block will put it inside the try. So try contains the set of code where we suspect. So susceptible code will be inside the try. If anything occurs, it will be trapped in the except. So we do not have a throw over here. Throw and catch that you have in C++, it's not like that. Inside the try, if an error occurs, directly it will come to the except, which handles that exception. So we have try except block. Try where we keep the code where we have we suspect that there might be some exception occur, except for handling the exceptions. So if an exception occurs in the try block, except block is executed. Once the except block is complete, the code continues to execute the statement. Try to understand, the code continues to execute the statement outside the try except block. So it is not that it is ending the program, it is like terminate the program or quit the program as it occurs in the previous case. So while handling what it does, the program will not terminate, rather the program will continue by handling that exception itself. And if there is no exception, the lines written for the except block are ignored or they are not being executed. So if no exception occurs, these things what you have written inside the except are being ignored and they are not executed. If any exception occur, whatever I will write inside this except will be executed. So let us see the syntax over here. So what we have, we do some operations over here. We do some operations over here, and in the except we have written if there is any exception.
Not audible.
Okay, maybe some network issue. So this is the place where we write the statement which may erase an exception, and this is the block to handle the exception. Just see over here. We have written that fh file handler fh equals to open test file in R mode. Try to understand, this is in R mode, means for reading. But we are writing fh.write, this is my test file for exception handling, and print that successfully written in the file. So I have written these 3 lines. So there might be, error might occur. We know that error will occur because why it is there? We have opened the file in read mode, but we try to write. So we made a except over here written that error cannot find the file or write data. Correct? So while it is, so it will come over here, execute the first line. When it tries to write it will see that the file cannot be opened. Correct? So it will automatically come to this except block printing this line that error cannot find file or write data. So this output it will give. Correct? And if you have opened in write mode, if it is the correct mode, what will happen? If it is the correct mode, then definitely this line will also, this line will be written into the file, and this line is not going to be executed. So which one will be executed? This one successfully written into the file, this one will be executed, and this is the output we will get. Is it understood? If it is,
Yes, sir.
so if it is write mode, it will write this, and this print statement is not written over this print statement, and this print statement will get the output as successfully written in the file. This is the simplest way of using the try and except. So now we'll go for the next one. We can have different actions or messages for different types of errors. So what we have done, for whatever the errors, this except will come. So it says for different messages, different types of error, for different errors, we can have different types of messages we can give. So a single try block can have multiple except blocks. A single try block, do remember, a single try block can have multiple except blocks. It may be value error, it may be IO error, it may be, different errors might be there. So for every different kinds of error, you may have different except statements, except blocks. So if you write only except, so block without any mention is the default except block. Do remember, the block without any type of mention is default except block. That means it will accept all types of errors because you have not mentioned. You have not mentioned. Correct? So just look over here to the syntax. You do some operations over here. You do not know what type of exception occurs. So you write except the exception name, maybe value error, except maybe IO error. Like that you will go writing all the exceptions. And this is except. That means if it not matches in any of these, this is going to be executed. Correct? If an error occurs and matching except block is found, suppose it is found over here, then the matching except block is executed. So this block will be executed. But if an error occurs and matching except block is not found, so this is not found and this is also not found, the default except block is executed. So this is for the all. Besides this, whatever left is the except. If an error occurs and neither matching except block nor default except block are found, the program terminates. So you have an exception, but you do not have any matching except block, neither except block like this. So these are not present. If these are not present, then the program terminates. Then the program terminates. Correct? So what is the order in which it will search? First it will search, if an error occurs, then it searches for the correct match of except. If it is not found, it goes to the default except. If none of them is found, then it terminates. If there is no error, none of these are going to be executed. I hope it is understood.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Let us take an example over here. We have fh equals to, we have fh equals to open test file R. So this test file need to be open in read mode. But we are writing into this file. Definitely the error will occur. To handle this, we have different except statement. One for except IO error, except file not found. These are the different types of exceptions to handle. So except IO error, except file not found, and except. So this is file not found actually. For write block, fh write block, the file is not found. So file not found this, so therefore file not found. Sorry, for IO error, it will come to this block is executed. This will execute when observe multiple except blocks are there. And none of these are found, then it is default except block will be executed. And in our case, it will be IO error. In this case, it is IO error. Hello.
Sir, file not found is a keyword, or that will be we have to give some condition there.
These are keywords. These exceptions are keywords. There are fixed number of exceptions are there. I will give you in the next slide. I will show you what are the different types of exceptions are there. IO error, file not found. I will show you over here in some slide. These are the you can see in my on your screen. These are the different types of exceptions. Arithmetic error, IO error, name error, runtime error. You know, these are different types of exceptions. Okay, these are keywords. Correct? So as it matches over here, therefore it pitches, therefore it prints input output error. This block is executed. Correct? Now look over here. I open it.
Sir, I did not get how the output is input output error.
See here, I open the file in read mode, right? But I want to write into the file. Open in input mode, but want to write in output mode. So this is an input output error actually. This error is called the input IO error.
Yes.
So this IO error is already predefined. It is already there. So I am writing that if it is an IO error, do this. So it will be get printed.
Sir, if file not found error will be with the first except block.
Suppose I give a name over here. Suppose I give test file 1. This file may not be present. If it is not present, then this will give you the second one, file not found error. Second one is file not found. So that means if it is file is not there, it will give the file not found error. But in our case, it is giving what? It is giving IO error because file is there, but it's not for input operation. It is actually for the output. We have to write into the file. We want to write into the file, but we have opened in read. So therefore that error is called the IO error. If the file that you have given is yes.
Sir, in the try block, we don't have to also put any condition like in the C++. It will be automatically detect the error and source in the except blocks.
In C++ also you don't give. C++, you just in the try block you give it and you throw. There only you use the throw statement, and in catch statement you catch the error. Here you don't have throw and you don't need to catch it.
Sir, in the C++, we write the code in the try blocks, and we make a condition if something that then throw the values -1 or -2 according to our requirement.
That is
there we check if statement.
See over here. There you are using if statement, but not mandatory that you will always use a if statement. Suppose you are working with file. In C++, you are working with file. Same syntax that you have written, the same program, suppose you will do in the C++. You want to open a file in read mode, iOS in, and you want to write it, a file object dot write. Correct? Here you are not using any if condition, right?
Yes, sir.
Understood? The program that you have practiced, there you have used the if condition. But there are situations where if may not be necessary. Always, that means if is not mandatory. If generally you use, but not necessary that if is has to be there. Neither in C++ nor in Python. Is it understood?
Yes, sir.
Because if you go for, suppose this program, file handling program in C++, and you are using similar code over here. In C++, you want to open a file and write it. No, you are not giving any condition over there, but you need to handle it, right? You need to that need to be handled. Right? So just look into the code. The second code also you try to get it. Second code. So just see over here. In the second example, I open and read mode, then I try to write, but this will give you what? This will raise an IO error, but I do not have any except for IO error. What to do now? In the second case, so that means
the next except block will be executed.
So for default one is this one. The default one is this. See, if there is no match is found, then it executes the except block. Correct? If it is found, then it will give print. It will print or whatever you have written. Not necessary that always it is a print. You give some. You do some operation over here. Either print or you do some operation. If it is IO error, you do some other operation. Not necessary that always you will print some message. Okay. So along with this try and except, there is another block called the else block. The else block can be used to write some statement which you want to execute after try block, in case there is no exception. else block can be used to write some statement which we execute after try block in case there is no exception. If there is, in case there is no exception will be there, then I want to execute this block. If there is no exception, then after this block, this I need this statement to be executed. So either except or the else block will be executed. So any one of either this or this will be executed. Both cannot be executed, because if it occurs, if the exception occurs, then this will execute, ignoring the else. If this will not occur, then definitely else will execute by ignoring the except block. The code in else, this one, this block executes if the code in the try block doesn't raise an exception. If it doesn't raise an exception, it comes to this else part. It comes to this else part. So else block is not executed if try block raises an exception. If it is an exception, so it will come to except block. Correct? So if there is an exception, then it comes over here. So if there is no exception occurs, then it comes over here to the else part. Correct? So look into this syntax and example for the same. So what you do, we keep some information instruction in the try block. You do your operation here. Now what? So we do some operation over here. Then except we have one exception, exception A, exception B, then the else part, then the else. So there might be a chance it may match in any of these exceptions. If exception doesn't occur, then only it will come to the else part, if there is no exceptions. So it is not that exception occurs and match not found. If exception occurs and no match is found, it will go to the default except, and that is also not present, then it will terminate. But here it says if the exception doesn't occur, it will come to the else. Try to see this example over here. I'm writing, I have opened the file in write mode. I'm also writing into the file, so exception doesn't occur. Right? I'm opening in write mode and writing to the file. So there is no error or no exception occurs. When no exception occurs, this line will get printed. Written the content of the file successfully, this will be get printed. No, there is no exception, so else block is executed. Correct? But had it been like this, if I have opened in R mode, then this IO error must have been occurred and this would have been executed, ignoring these instructions, ignoring this else part instructions. Correct? So just look into the second example. I opened the file in read mode, but I want to write into the file. So this is an IO error. So definitely caught in this exception. So once it will caught in this exception, it will print this line. And now the else block will not be executed. Now the else block will not be executed. So either the except block or the else block will be executed. Any one of them will be executed. Is it understood or not?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Sir, can you show the example in the previous page one?
This one or this one?
Yes, sir, in this one. Sir, in the first case, if the test file is not present, then it will give IO error or file not found error.
File not found error.
If file is there, then it will give IO error.
If file is there and incorrect mode you are using, you are opening file in read or using write, then it is IO error.
Yes. Yes,
Okay.
but if file was not present, then sir, it will give file not found error.
File not found error.
Okay.
Okay. So we have read up to this. The next we have another block is called the finally block. We have a block called finally. So include finally block for writing the statements which you want to execute whether exception occurs or not. Whether either the exception occur or exception doesn't occur, you can use a finally. Try to understand. We have a try block. Here you have susceptible code. You have the code which may have error. If error occurs, you go to what? Except. If it is not, you want to execute something else. If it doesn't occur, then you go for else. Then you go for what? Else. But I want whether it occurs or not, some statements has to be executed. Then we put it inside the finally. Correct what I'm saying? I repeat it. If the error occurs, or sorry, the exception occurs, it goes to the except. If the error doesn't occur, I want to execute some statement, it goes to else. But I want whether the error occurs or not, it should execute some statement, then we must go for finally. Then we must go for the finally, right? So finally block is placed to put any code that must execute irrespective of try block raising an exception or not. Finally block is placed to put any code that must execute irrespective of try block raising an exception or not, whether it is raising an exception or it doesn't raise an exception, but this block will get executed always. Just let us see an example. So we have instruction over here, and directly just look over here. I have opened in write mode and I am writing to the file. There is no problem over here. I open in write mode and writing into the file. Now this line will get printed return content to the file if it is successfully written. Now IO error will not occur. If IO error will not occur, it will search for the else part. Else is not there, so it goes to the finally. So it will close the file and print it. So what will be my output? After writing, it will print return content to the file successfully. Then it will come over here. Then file is closed. So these two lines will be get printed. This is my output. Because the error doesn't. Now you will say that why should I write finally? Why not you will write else? Because even if you write else, the same output will come. Even if you write else, the same output will come. But what is the difference over here? Can anyone say? In place of finally, if I write else, I will get the same output.
Sir, if you write else, then it will check the first. It will first check the try block. Then it will come to else. Then if you write finally, then it will be must executed. There will be false or true. It will be must executed.
Yes, definitely. So whether it is true or false, even if there is IO error, still the last two lines has to be executed. Just look over here in the second example. In second example, we have opened the file in read mode, but we want to write. So exception will occur. So it will come over here, execute this line. After executing this line, even if this line is executed, still it will close and it will write that file is closed. Till this line will be executed. So this line will be executed whether the IO occur or not. Whether the exception occur or not. Correct? So we have talked about this IO error. We have talked about this some of these errors we have talked about. Exception. We have file not found error. Similarly, you can have a type error, value error. Do remember some of these errors. This zero division error. These are the common errors that are being that are there. IO error, arithmetic error. Then you have index error. Index error means you have declared an index for some range and you are going out of that index range error. Then you have name of the variable is wrong. The name error. You have different type error, value error. All these are there. Zero division error. These are, do remember, these are predefined exceptions. So if this occurs, so in the except statement, I can use any one of these. There are few of them I have listed over here. Is it understood? These are the exceptions names, so which can be used with except statement. Just look into these three code and say that what will be the correct output for the what will be the output for the first one. What will be the output for the first one? Code 1. This is 1, this is 2, and this is 3. What will be the output for first one? Print A. So A will be get printed. A is equal to 10 by 0. So what is this? Error will occur. Exception will occur. Exception means it. So it will search for where except is written. So it will found except is written over here. So it will print what? It will print C. So as the except has executed, therefore else will definitely not execute. Either of these will execute. Is it understood or not? So after so after that it will come to finally, because finally will execute whether except or else has executed. So it will also execute E. So my output will be A, C, and E. Is that understood?
Sir, once again.
Yes.
Okay. So I will try executing from the beginning. Print A. So definitely A will be get printed because I don't have any statement. Print A. A will be printed. And then A is equal to 10 by 0. 10 by 0 is the exception or not? If it is an exception, it will come to the except statement, ignoring this line. Ignoring this line, it will come to the except statement. Because it is an exception. And in the except statement, what is written? Print C. So A already printed. Now it will print what? C. After this printing this statement, it will come to finally, not to the else, because we have read that either the except or the else, any one of these must execute. So we have executed the except, therefore it will come to finally. Even if I have executed the else, it should come to the finally. But as the exception occur, it will come to except. If the exception will not occur, it will come to else. So in the finally, we have statement E. So we have printed A initially. We come to the except, print C. Then we come to the finally to print E. So what is my output? Output I will get A, C, and E. Is it understood now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now tell me for the second case, what will be the output? Tell me what will be the output for the second case?
Sir, error.
Why it is error?
So because the else statement should be after the except block.
Yes. The else statement, this should be kept after the else. This should be kept because it will search for except. If it is not that, if it is suppose error doesn't occur, then it will come to else. The else must be kept after except. That you remember. The third one, what will be the output? Look into the code. So first it will enter into the block. The third one I am talking about. So first it will print A. So A is equal to 10. It is a simple statement. There is no error or no exception. Print B. So it will print B. Will it come to accept?
No, sir.
No, sir.
So it will not come to accept. C will not get printed. So it will come to D, because no exception occurs, it will come to D. No exception means it will come to the else part. It will print D. After that, whether exception occurs or not, it will print finally. So it will print E. So what it has printed? A, B, D and E. It will print A, B, D and E. I hope it is understood.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Now look into this and say, observe the below Python code. Which of the following code snippet will give the output as A, B and C? Which of the these will give the output A, B, C?
Sir, the second one. No, sir, none of the. I think.
Yes, sir. None.
None of the above.
Sir, in both the cases, after try, there should be except block. Or
So there is an error in the first one.
yes, sir.
First one, see, let me execute the program. It will print A.
I think second one will be the output.
Second one will give the output. What is the problem in the first one?
So the
Sir,
first
after
one
try,
there is a
no
syntax error,
finally
so
or
it will
no.
get
Try may not have a final. Try may not have a final block, but the except has to be there, right?
Yes.
Except has to be there means as you have else, therefore you must have a except. I may have a try without except, but I am writing else, therefore except has to be there. Understood what I am saying?
yes, sir.
Suppose I have a try with no except, no else. The program will terminate simply. The program will terminate because it will execute, error occurs, no except is there, it will terminate. Try to understand. Inside the try, suppose exception occurs. It searches for a except block. If no except is there, it will terminate. I have told you earlier. That no except will terminate. Somewhere I have told you. If there is no exception, except block is not executed. I have told somewhere. Let's see here. If an error occurs and neither matching except block nor default except block is found, the program terminates. So without giving an error, it will terminate. Right? So therefore, this is error because we have a else without the except statement. So now come over here, second one. It will print A. Now A is equal to 10. A is equal to 10, there is no error. It will print B. So no error occurs, it will come to the finally and it will print C, right? So B gives the output as A, B and C. Is it understood?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Some more problems are there.
Sir, can
Yes.
we make our own exception statements? Except this predefined exception, can we make our own exception statements?
Yes, that you are doing. You are actually, whatever you want to do, that you are writing in the except block. Although you
Yes,
cannot
sir.
have predefined exception names are there, but you are writing those exceptions over in the no in the except block. So all you cannot go for